All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Podcast 3 today. We're already having a good time, had some laughs before the camera started rolling. I'm staring at Article 1, which is called The Power of High Humor. Now, this is from Waking Times, one of my favorite websites. So I'm kind of giving a plug to Dylan Charles, who is the founder of this site. And he is definitely a cool guy with his own mind. And so this article, it's written by Gary McZ, but he's basically talking about high humor. You know, and high humor, which I learned from the article, is when you're super high and you're having fun. You're just like making jokes. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah, Brandon, he's so gay, you know, in his own way. Like, kind of, you know, that's sort of like high humor. But, no, high humor, which I learned, is not slapstick. So this would disappoint my dad, who is a Three Stooges fan, loves slapstick comedy. So hitting people, like if I were to hit Brandon in the head with a brick, that would not be considered high humor. It might be funny to me, but I would probably go to jail, and I'd probably be taking it in the ass shortly after. No, I wouldn't. No, I would be giving it to someone in the ass, probably. Cut that. No. But basically, the humor thing that we're talking about here, you have to have a sense of humor in life in order to reach a level of calm and just to get where you want to be in life. You have to have a sense of humor because so many bad things will happen to you in life. If you don't have a sense of humor, you know, using satire and stuff like that, you're never going to be happy. So you have to make light of all the negative things in your life in order to have a good life. And, you know, that's kind of why me and Brandon are doing this podcast. Like, we're talking about serious issues, but we have to make light of them, even ones that are negative. You have to have a sense of humor in order to get past it. So in this article, it says there's a ladder of virtues. And so he says, from a healthy character leads a healthy sense of wonder, which leads to a healthy sense of humor. So you're kind of taking steps in that direction. And it's a rocket fuel for going meta. And in the meta paradigm where we discover the genius of levity. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds great. So basically, you have to have a sense of humor in life to get where you want because you're always going to get beaten down. Like, I think everyone, I can even ask Brandon, how often in life do you get excited about something? You're saying, oh my God, like I'm going to make it, like this, you know, my business idea is coming through. I got all these people excited, you know, and then the next day you get beaten right back down to earth. And it's like, oh, I don't have it anymore. Like, I suck. Like, no, it all fell through. Or it could be with, you know, a girl that you like or a guy that you like, whatever. You're like, you're right there. You go on a date with them. Everything's going great. And then the next day, yeah, you know, something came up. We can't hang out, you know, and then I'm moving to Wichita tomorrow. The girl that you love or the guy that you love. What are you going to do? You're going to just sit on the couch and cry about it all day? Now, granted, you might not make jokes about it and, you know, right away and try to cheer yourself up, but you have to do something to get over it. So life is all about letdowns. And I feel like humor is the only way to get over the letdowns. You know, have a sense of humor, maybe laugh it off if you can, you know, and start again. And just realize that even the most successful people on earth, they get let down. Elon Musk, there might be a girl that Elon Musk likes. He's got $900 trillion. It's like, here's a suitcase. I got $1 trillion bills in it. Will you sleep with me, babe? No, you're ugly, Elon. I don't like you. What's he gonna do? Cry? So there's letdowns for everybody. So have a sense of humor, and not like crude humor is one thing. Which you can get away with crude humor with some people, but clean humor. I respect guys who have clean humor. Guys like Jerry Seinfeld. Doesn't mean you have to be clean. Just like Eminem when he said Will Smith don't have to cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do. So F him and fuck you too, But it just have a sense of humor in life. Try not to have humor at the expense of other people all the time. It is funny to put other people down. Like Brandon is a Titanic fag. Like, look at him. I mean, that's kind of funny to me. He's laughing. He might be crying on the inside. That's not really fair. But, humor lightens the mood, everybody. So never forget, being funny can make you feel better. Laughing in general. Fake laugh, fake smile can brighten your day. That's about all I have to say about that article. He gets way into it with fancy words, but he is right, and I do agree. I don't know if Brandon sees anything more.
For man to be able to live, he must either not see the infinite or connect the finite
with the infinite.
With the infinite.
The asshole Leo, all right, he's not an asshole. Whoever wrote that quote doesn't even know what it means. The guy who wrote it doesn't even know what it means. If Brandon knows what that means, props to him. Connecting finite with the infinite. Okay, wait a minute. So finite would be Brandon or me, let's say individually, and the infinite would be everyone on Earth, right? You could use it that way. So how to connect the finite me with everyone else on Earth? 8 billion people. So basically he's saying I have to sleep with everyone on Earth to connect with them. That would take a long time. I mean, I'm not that kind of guy anyways.
That's quite the body count.
Is that what he means?
I don't know.
It might mean that. I'll start today. Maybe.
It would surely be funny if you did.
All right, I'll start with sleeping with everyone in this complex, and then I'll branch out from there. All right, deal. That's what I got Leo Tolstoy from that quote.
Word. Thank you, Leo.
Yeah.
It's a lovely article.
Very lovely. Okay, moving along. Here's the big article. How hypnotists and mass media hack your mind to control your behavior. This is a very powerful article. This is written by the editor, Dylan Charles. Props, Dylan. I like you a lot. You're a great man. Keep doing this. So he talks about basically the long and short of it is people that watch the news daily, CNN, even local news can do it too. He's basically saying you're getting brainwashed if you continually watch this stuff day in and day out. And before he jumps into talking about the, guys like Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon and whatnot, he talks about stage hypnotists and then hypnotists that help people quit addictions and everything. And basically, he says that the hypnotist itself, or him or herself, has to be a confident person to begin with, or at least act confident with their subject. So they'll use not fancy language, but powerful words. They'll be very confident, and they'll continuously hit people with these phrases over and over confidently that will kind of open up their brain in order for it to be programmed. And, I have a funny story about a stage hypnotist going back about 12 years maybe. So my uncle used to own a dealership, and we had a big dealership party. It might have been at Twin River. Can I say stuff like Twin River?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah. What are they gonna do? Sue us?
They might. Yeah, come after me. Yeah, you know where I live. Okay, you'll find me. No. So they had a stage hypnotist guy, and there were a lot of people at the party, but he called people up to the stage who wants to, get hypnotized. And I'm like, yeah, Biggie, hypnotize me, man. Like, I used to love Biggie. No. But I went up on stage, me and about 15 other people, 15 to 20, and you all sit in a chair, and then I think you might close your eyes a little bit, and he's saying all of this stuff, with his confident voice, and he's got all these catchphrases that are supposed to, melt our minds into doing what he's saying. But he whittled everyone down. It went from 15 to 10 to 5 to 2. I'm still up there. Me and one other guy, I'm like, all right, like, is this guy going to leave or stay? And the other guy finally gets up. He's like, it's not working on me. So I'm still there. And I guess I'm a little bit of an actor because I was not hypnotized at all. I'm like, I kind of felt bad for the guy. I'm like, all right, so I'll fake it and I'll go along with it. And he's telling me all this stuff. He's like, so basically I'm under the spell at this point, fake under the spell. But I'm having a good time, and like all my family is in the audience. And he's like, your seat's on fire. I'm like, like stuff like that. Your hands are glued together. I don't even know if he did that. Like, they are. Oh my God, what's going on? Help me. And then finally he pulls the girl up on stage, and I'm like, I'm still going along with it. And he's like, Mike, how many boobs does she have? I go up to her. I go like this, and I grab him. I'm like, 2. She's got 2 boobs, you asshole. Look, 1, 2. I'm grabbing him, and he's like, oh, there's just 2. All right, well, all right. He's not under a spell anymore. All right, party's over, everybody. So I blew it. Like, I went along with the whole thing, and he expected me to say, like, oh, she's got 12 boobs. Whoa, oh my God. But I was like, no, she's got 2. Like, what are you talking about? So I blew my cover, and then after it ended, everyone's like, oh, you weren't really under a spell, were you? I'm like, oh, no, I kind of was a little bit. But so I was not under a spell. I faked the whole thing pretty good up until the end, even though it was still kind of funny. But so that means to me, I don't actually believe in it. I don't believe in a stage hypnotist. I've seen it in school when I was a kid. Other kids get under the spell. I could be wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I think there are people out there that are more malleable. But from what I've experienced, I don't believe in those guys. I'll bet you there's better guys out there that can potentially do it. So basically, I don't believe too much in that, but I do believe in media brainwashing without a doubt, especially if you tune in every night. Now it's COVID, so COVID is kind of the thing. I'm not saying COVID doesn't exist and it's all made up. I am not saying that. But the media has an agenda, and they're constantly putting things into people's heads. If you watch CNN, all COVID, day in, day out, you keep watching it. You see guys like Chris Como, Don Lemon, constantly putting things into your mind. And, these guys, like, whatever, they may be good-looking guys. They come on, and women like them. They're like, oh, wow, he's so cool. Like, he knows what he's talking about. He's handsome and all that. And they start believing it over time. And I think before COVID started, the first one was 9/11. So after 9/11 happened, it just, everything seemed too perfect. Now, with 9/11 too, I'm not saying 9/11 was an inside job. I don't actually believe it was. I believe that maybe George Bush and his buddies, they might have had an idea that there was going to be an attack, and basically they kind of almost let it happen. So it happened, and like they had all videos of the planes going in, and it was just a perfect event to happen, to have people go along with the war on terror, the Patriot Act, where they invade all our privacies. And there was a while ago, I read an article about how they use imagery to put ideas into your head. Basically, what they do is you take a picture or a video. So for 9/11, the picture of the plane going into the building, plane sticking out of the building, whatever it was. And then, so you'll see that death and destruction in the picture, and then they'll have a tagline to go along with it, like, fight the war on terror. You know, let's get these terrorists. We got to get all them terrorists over there, you know. And that's how Bush was, always talking about them terrorists. So you have the picture of the death and destruction, and then they put the idea in your head what we're going to do. We're going to go fight over there. And you say, okay, like, we have to fight. Like, look at the plane. It went into the building. You know, there's nothing else we can do. So that's kind of what they're doing now with COVID. Even though COVID is almost 2 years old now, they're kind of running out of things, but they hit people day in and day out on CNN with wearing the mask, and they're all mandates too. It's not a law. A mandate is not a law. A mandate is a strong recommendation. So we never actually had, no one had to get vaccinated. Now they're sort of almost pushing people into the corner, people that work in big corporations and government, to do it. But a lot of these people, they might have acted irrationally, just saying, okay, wow, they're telling me to do this, I have to. I'm just going to do it. I'm not even going to do my own research. I think I have to because Don Lemon, Anderson Cooper told me that I have to. And that's where we're at. I wish people would do their own homework. I wish people read Dylan Charles. That there's other authors that I read. And a funny thing about this too, might not be funny, but a coworker of mine, right after COVID, and he had some troubles with COVID. So basically I said, yeah, all these people are brainwashed about COVID, what's going on, like everyone's getting shots. No, this was even before vaccines. People are all afraid and they have to wear a mask. I'm saying they're all, you're all brainwashed basically. And then he turned it on me and he goes, Mike, you're a conspiracy guy. It's like, what if you're the one that's brainwashed? It's like, well, maybe. I said, all right, maybe I am brainwashed. But, after I went home, I kind of just stopped talking about it with him after. And I went home and I'm thinking to myself, am I brainwashed? Did I wash my brain today? I don't know. It's hard to get in there. But I came to the conclusion, no, I am not brainwashed because I am in the minority. And the people that I read, they don't have an agenda like the government might have an agenda to this COVID thing to really start tracking people more, tracking their medical history. So there's no incentive for the people that I read, and they present factual evidence of what's going on. They might make a little money off their website, but they rely on donations. So I don't feel that I'm brainwashed because I'm in the minority. I searched for this alternative info. No one tried to beat it into my brain like CNN and everything else is doing, and friends and family, oh, you got to wear a mask, you got to get the shot. No, I sought out my own information and I came up with my own opinion based on what I've read. So I don't believe that I'm brainwashed, even though he surely thinks I am. But no, I don't believe it. And now we're at that point in society where people basically believe everything they say, or everything that they hear. Not everyone, but still that 80% majority is believing the news day in and day out. I wish they would do their own research because, it's your life at the end of the day. And you don't have to necessarily do what they say because you are not alone. If you tell yourself, no, freaking Anderson Cooper, he's lying to me right now. Like, don't think you're a bad person because you think the government is lying to you. You are not alone. I am with you. I'm in your corner. Never forget that. So, I don't know if there's much more. Okay, one thing Brandon, he brought up, and I remembered it from the article. It is believed that 95% of our behavior is governed by the subconscious mind. 95%. Do I believe that? I mean, that's a high number. So basically, everything I do, 95% of what I do on a day-to-day basis, I almost don't have control over it. My subconscious. So basically, I'm getting up and cooking breakfast. I'm not even thinking about it. I mean, I feel like I do think about it, but I'm not. Apparently I am a robot. We're all robots, kind of. So what that tells me is try to sometimes we should try to override that 95% if we can. If we can dig down deep in our mind and overcome it. Cuz think about it. If you drink every night, you're drinking every night. You get home, like that beer is cracked. You're not even thinking about it. So if we take time to just like sit in a chair for 5 minutes and be like, all right, maybe I can change my routine up a little bit. Like, I don't have to crack that beer tonight. You know, I don't have to torch that crack pipe right now. I do it every night at 5 o'clock. But maybe if I sit here for a little bit and think, nothing, no phone, just close my eyes, open them. Like, I don't want that beer. I don't want that beer at all. Take that beer, fire it against the wall, explode everywhere, fizz, all kinds of shit. And you know what? You didn't have that beer just because you took a couple of minutes to override your subconscious mind. So that's what I'm going to do today. Before I spark that doobie at 11 p.m., I'm going to sit in the chair without it. I'm going to sit and I'm going to think for 3 minutes, breathe, get up out of that chair, and promptly light that doobie. Because I have no willpower, just like all the rest of us. But I'm going to try. I will try, ladies and gentlemen. And I want you to as well. Try to override that subconscious and do the right thing. We're all trying. Mainly me. I will fail, but I will try.
I'm just going to fail.
Brandon's not even going to try. He already knows that he failed. But he admits it. All right. Moving along, we had fun with that one. Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay. Now, this guy I heard about. Brandon knows I don't really follow the mainstream news too much. I have authors that I read, and they end up talking about the stuff, what happened in the news, and that's how I get informed, is by reading their articles. So this guy, Kyle, about a year ago, Brandon, it was a protest. Would you call it a peaceful protest that he was at originally? Clearly,
sure.
It was not peaceful.
Yeah.
Not even in the beginning. So it was sort of an angry protest to begin with.
Yeah, it was one of the Black Lives Matter protests in Chicago, I believe.
All right. So a BLM protest, call it a year ago. There were tons of protests back then. I did hear about a bunch of them, but I didn't remember this guy. But now he had his trial And wow, yep, he cleared of all the charges. Now, apparently, he was brought to the protest. Maybe he came late to the protest, which is
Yeah.
when hell kind of breaks loose. But he had an AR-15 and he just started shooting random people, apparently.
Yeah, so I think the way it started was there was like a skirmish somewhere that he was involved in, and um there's a video of him like
Yeah, the
running
video
down the
that Brandon
street.
showed me, it's probably not super appropriate,
Yeah.
but he he killed two people. Okay, two people were killed.
One, two.
And he was 17 at the time, so now he's 18.
Yeah, I think it was three people, right?
Three people. All
First
right.
degree intentional
Shot
homicide.
three men, killing two, and maybe wounding another. But
Yeah.
bottom line now, cleared of all the charges. First degree intentional homicide, not guilty. All of that other stuff. Attempted first degree intentional homicide, not guilty. Not guilty on any of this stuff. Now, why would he not be guilty? Like, they have video footage of it. Is the government, you know, sympathetic to this guy? I mean, what if it was, what if it had happened? I mean, what if it was a conservative person that did it that was, you know, in the other direction? He probably would have been locked up. I don't know for sure. No, I veer conservative, but I'm not a pure conservative guy at all. I really try to look at both sides of the coin. But I mean, when I see this, I say, like, what's going on? Because I've read about protests where they'll be peaceful for a while, a couple hours, and then it starts to get late. Brandon mentioned the word provocateurs. And then all of a sudden, some people, call them provocateurs, can get bussed in from wherever, and they have weapons on them, like bricks, sticks, whatever it could be guns too. But you don't even know where they come from, and these people are most likely paid by some elitist group potentially, or some individual, and they start causing the chaos. So that's why, for me, protests, I'm not big into them. I don't like big crowds, but you don't even know who you're dealing with. There could be people faking being on your side. So that's why I veer away from this type of stuff, because you really don't know what you're dealing with, especially late at night if it's dark. You don't know who's on your side. You know, you don't know how the police are going to react. You know, it's kind of like a lose-lose situation. I feel like this Rittenhouse kid, you know, I feel like he's young. He was very young. You know, 17 is young. Should he be spared? You know, to be not guilty like that is kind of crazy to me. I feel like he should serve a little bit of time, but how can he just get off scot-free? Kind of like the Travis Scott thing. I when you look at him and you say he's going to be doing concerts again, you know, rapping while there's people dead on the ground. The guy's still rapping, and so the government or the judicial system, they seem to pick and choose who they want to go free. It's like if the people who did the wrongdoing go along with their agenda, then they're okay with it. So they're clearly picking winners and losers here. You know, I don't know how you feel, Brandon, about this guy. Do you? I
I
mean,
mean,
homicide.
I didn't really follow the situation, but from what I read in all these reports, like right here, it says reckless homicide differs from intentional homicide, in that prosecutors weren't alleging that Rittenhouse intended to murder Rosenbaum. So
Right.
basically, what it sounds like, it was like the police kind of rushed it. They charged him with the wrong things, and that
Yeah.
it was more of like a by law. They couldn't prove without a reasonable
Couldn't.
doubt
Uh huh.
that he was guilty of the things they charged him with.
Yeah. And they kind of just swept it under the rug quick, like wash our hands of it. Okay, slap him on the wrist. Yeah, he got scared a little bit, but it's okay, Kyle. You know, hopefully Kyle learned from it. You know, is he going to turn into this big bad protester now and start doing more of this stuff? No, probably not right away. But hopefully he'll be okay. I mean, or hopefully he'll do the right thing in the future now. But it does seem crazy that he didn't even really get a slap on the wrist. Got nothing. His hand got kissed pretty much, not slapped. So, yeah, I don't know. Just my advice, people, avoid protests if you can, and even if you stage a peaceful protest, it can turn violent based on any number of factors, the police, other people coming in. So be very careful. I feel like the best protest you can do is probably on social media. Now, even with them censoring it, social media is a good way. That's how I have all my info, from reading, not necessarily social media, but websites, and just do it virtually. You're better off staging like a virtual protest than outside. Even though push came to shove, if my freedoms really got infringed upon, I would probably take to the streets if I had to. That would be last option. I mean, people know me. They know I'm really not a violent guy. I don't know if people can see me dressed out there as John Rambo, you know what I mean, or the Terminator with the eye black on, just gunning down kids. You know what I mean? Not kids, but people.
Just Mike is a proud boy.
Right. No. So be careful with this stuff. We know it seems to happen constantly. Mass shootings and violence and protests, they don't seem to be stopping. Concerts, hopefully they will, but they seem to be ramping up, or at least staying the same. Every year there's multiple incidents. I hope they quiet down. I'd like to see a little more peace. I am not a violent man. Neither is Brandon. But all we do is read about violence on the news. There you go, more hypnotizing people. If people are always watching negative news on TV, what are you left with? A negative mindset, I feel like. That's why I try to avoid it. I try to read positive things. There was a time where I read conspiracy theory hours every day. And what did I turn into? A miserable piece of shit who just laid on his couch and cried and got angry. I had to get away from that. So, now I have a better mind state. I try to laugh things off. So stay away from the news media. Read alternative sources. Or here, I'll say this. If you watch CNN constantly, at least look at the flip side. Go online, read some alternative media. If you're super pro-vaccine even, read some anti-vax articles. Or if you're super liberal, read some conservative articles. Always do that, and you'll come up with your own opinion. If you can listen to both sides of the coin, you'll end up somewhere in the middle. You're probably not going to end up black or white. So do your research. That's what I'd have to say. What else do I have? This is completely unrelated to anything, but I'm watching football the other day. I watch very little sports. People know that I'm a big golfer. There's a guy in the NFL. His last name is Pringle. Okay. So how can a football player be named after a delicious midnight snack? I don't get that. Byron Pringle. There he is. So, when the quarterbacks, when they got the ball, all right, huddle up, guys. All right, so Pringle takes the huddle with E.L. Fudge and Klondike. You just better hope that the other team, doesn't have a sweet tooth, or they're gonna eat those boys up. EL fudge, num 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 Klondike. Give me a bite of that. Yeah. So Byron Pringle, I love the name, but he is named after a super delicious midnight snack. Funny story. I used to eat Pringles like it was my job. There was one night. It was 2 a.m. when I was young like Brandon. I stayed up till 2, 3 a.m. smoking pot every night, right? Now I'm in bed by whatever, 12, because I'm a loser. But there was one night I ate 1.5 cans of Pringles. Brandon, I woke up the next morning. You think booze and pot give you a bad hangover? I had the worst Pringle hangover you could ever imagine. I had the taste of Pringles in my mouth for a day. After that, never ate Pringles again. Worst experience in my life. 1.5 cans of those. That's how sick I was. So, Pringles are better off on the football field than in my stomach. So keep doing what you're doing, Pringle. I love your name, and you're a great football player.
Nice.
I don't know what else we have today.
I think that's it. I think that's it.
We had some fun. We did have some fun today. I was a little nervous again, but, everyone's got butterflies. I hope you all enjoyed it. We're still rolling, right?
Still rolling.
And everyone check out the Unpopular Opinions. Opinion? The Unpopular Opinions podcast. Facebook, YouTube. We're going to be doing this. I mean, we want to keep doing it. So I hope you guys keep staying tuned in. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much, my
Thank
friends.
you.